This is Dr. Kathleen Kaiser, President of the Chico Unified School Board, and we are calling our regular board meeting into session. We will go to closed session at 5, and at 6 o'clock we will come back for open. Hoping you can join us then. Thank you. call this session of the Chico Unified School Board meeting to order. We have been in closed session, and I have a short statement about what happened in closed session. The board voted unanimously to ratify 2 settlements agreements to resolve a special education due process complaint filed against Chico Unified School District. Pursuant to the agreement, the Chico Unified School District will establish a compensatory education fund for use by the student for educational services, independent educational evaluations, behavioral services, and associated lodging and mileage. The district will also pay attorney fees to the student's attorney. Under the express terms of the agreement, the board's ratification of the agreement does not constitute an admission of liability by the district. So that's what happened in closed session. And now I'd like to have us do the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. So, student reports.
Yes, thank you, President Kaiser. I am super excited tonight to introduce Citrus Elementary School. I don't think we have ever had so many students and parents show up for one school. So kudos to you guys for all being here, and we really look forward to hearing from your students. So with that, I'm going to introduce Principal Shannon Payne.
Good evening, board. Superintendent Staley. Obviously we have something that's really special at Citrus, relationship with our families and our students. And one thing that's really special about Citrus that we started, as I started at Citrus, was the running club. And I brought the advisor for that program, Mrs. Moore, who I'm going to invite up here, and I'm going to let her tell you all of the wonderful things that happen because of our running club, and then our students are going to share with you what makes this part of our school day so incredibly special. And with no further ado, Mrs. Moore.
All right, good evening. So I just want to talk a little bit about Running Club. It is a program that we run before school, about 7:45 to 8:15 in the morning. All kids are welcome to come out. I play music. We have, I give out prizes. The kids either walk or they run. Some kids just come out to dance because they love the music. So basically we have kids come out. We've created running little scan cards for them. They get to get their cards scanned by some helpers that we have out there. And then I upload it into a system, and then I give prizes depending on the amount that each kid has run. And what you can see behind us is we have these hanging when you walk into kind of the main foyer of our office. You'll see these boards hanging up here, and they just kind of honor and show the kids and how much hard work that they've done. So looking here, you know, we've got about 70% of our school participates in this program. It is not mandatory. It is strictly they come out and they just want to be there, and they run and they have a good time. We also have every month I kind of upload and I show, you know, the top runners for each grade level. So then, and it goes month by month. So it's not just our top runner, who I have here today with us, who's run over 70 miles this school year. And so we try every single month. If a kid runs 70 miles, but this month they choose not to run, we have another kid that, you know, runs a little bit more in the month of April, then we try to honor them by putting their name up, and they can see it and their parents can see it. And so you kind of see our top runners here. And then we've run over 4,000 miles combined as Citrus students. And so it kind of shows, we like to see, we've made it all the way across the United States, and we're almost making our way completely back across the United States collectively. So these are some of the great things. We decided to do and start this program just because, you know, exercise is proven to really just stimulate our kids' brains. It helps with, you know, kids focus in school. It helps with their you know, fidgeting. It improves their motivation and engagement in the things that they do every single day at school. And it really helps kind of with their cognitive skills. And so we started in 2018. We've continued this program because we've seen firsthand the difference it makes in our behavior of our students from before this program to now, and just the exercise and all of that before they come in and have to sit down for a school day. So, we've seen that firsthand, what that looks like. We've also seen a lot of our test scores improve and increase. There's a lot of great things happening. This is just one of the things happening at Citrus that's really shown that. It helps our kids start on a positive note. And really, our kids love running club, and their enthusiasm and their love for being out there every day is kind of why we show up every day. So I have a few of our kiddos here, and they're going to go ahead and introduce themselves, and they've have like a sentence or two to tell you why they love this program.
Hi, my name is Liliana Gonzalez. I am a student. I am in student council. One thing I like about running club is being able to help others.
Hi, my name is Christopher Zong, and one thing I love about running club is that running club is able to make you see and meet new people. And as you can see, I am the #1 on the overall leaderboard.
I'll hold it for you.
Hi, my name is Henry S. I like running club because I feel like there is always a goal to achieve.
Oh, and you know what? Hold on, stay here. So some of the prizes that I give out, and he's actually wearing them because Henry was one of our top runners when we started this back in 2018. We take that off. And every 10 miles, they earn these prizes, and they get to kind of keep track and hold on to the things that they earn. So he's wearing these, and they're 3 years in the making. So awesome, Henry.
Hello, my name is Harrison Kaladi Garcia. I'm in 2nd grade. The best thing about running club is I get to hang out with my friends. Hi, my name is Izzy Solomon, and I like running club because I get to be outside a lot, and it's like camping when I get to swim outside and stuff.
Good job, Izzy. Okay, ready?
My name's Kate Zong. One reason why I like running club, it's because I get to see my friends.
Hey, great job.
Hello, my name is Violet, and the best thing about running club is I get to hang out with my friends and family.
Hi, my name's Victor, and I like running club because it gets me ready to learn.
Good job, buddy. Ready? What's your name?
AJ,
And why do you like running club?
because I love it.
Yeah. All right. And AJ is a kindergartner. All right. Thank you. Want to say anything else? Okay, I don't know how to turn this off.
I have a question. So, did you know I was a running coach?
I did not.
Oh, well, yeah, well, I don't know. Because this is pretty great, and I'm very impressed. And Christopher, having that many miles by now is really impressive. So you'll have to aim for Chico has the 3 mile, and then the 6 mile, and then the half marathon.
And
So-
we also have we have companies around town that help donate things. So
Oh, wonderful.
He actually is about, what is he at, 71? He's about 4 miles away from winning a watch
Woo!
that was donated, and so that will help him track his miles on his own. And then we had another company donate brand new shoes for those who hit 100 miles.
Wonderful, wonderful. So this is great, you guys. And the Chico State women's team that I was coaching had the best grade average of any team of athletes. So, all right.
Well, I'm just going to do a little transition here and invite Shannon back up to the podium.
It's all staged, Sarah. You're pretty awesome. Why don't you come on back up? I think you kind of got a wind of this. So a good evening, school board members. Again, I appreciate this opportunity to recognize one of our fantastic certificated, as you can see, teachers at Citrus. It's my pleasure tonight to present the Superintendent's Award to Sarah Moore, who teaches 3rd grade at Citrus. Sarah's been teaching for 15 years, and 5 of them have been at Citrus, and she's making a difference. Let me tell you, Sarah Moore is loved. And in fact, this is how I know it. Each time we come together on Friday morning for our school-wide meeting, the entire school chants, Mrs. Moore, Mrs. Moore, right? They just go on forever until she gets up there and has to tell them to stop. Part of what makes her loved by Citrus students is her passion for meeting them where they are, creating strong relationships, as you see, and also for being the leader of the running club, where they get a lot of time with Mrs. Moore from kindergarten to 5th grade. What's special about Sarah is her commitment to Citrus doesn't end at her classroom door. I think you see that tonight. In addition to leading the running club 3 days a week before school starts for a full 30 minutes. She's a part of our instructional leadership team. She serves as a teacher in charge when I'm absent from campus. She's just committed to not only her student success, but really the success of our entire school community. I'm grateful to work with you, Sarah, and I'm proud to honor your commitment to Citrus and our school. Thank you. Great job.
And a certificate, a token of our appreciation, and we're going to get a picture with you here. Jim's very particular about order.
There's a way to do this.
And I can tell you're loved. Look at this turnout. That's awesome. I just, again, want to thank you. That was a great turnout and a wonderful student presentation, and thank you, Sarah. Very, very well deserved. And that concludes the superintendent's report. So if you want to stay, you are more than welcome to, but if you have homework or dinner or other things you have to do, you do not have to stay.
Or extra laps.
I do expect to see running to the door.
So we're moving to announcements. Does anyone in the audience have an announcement that relates to Chico Unified? All right. You have an announcement? Okay.
All right, so my announcement tonight is just that this Saturday is Butte Environmental Council's Endangered Earth event. We are celebrating the 43rd anniversary of the Endangered Species Fair. It will be held downtown at Chico City Plaza from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And will be kicked off with a walk from Children's Park in downtown through a few blocks away to City Plaza at 10:30 a.m. So there will be a walk, peaceful demonstration with costumes and puppets and all the fun things, and just capturing the spirit of the long-standing Endangered Species Fair, but we're bringing it to the heart of downtown Chico this weekend, so excited to see the turnout.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? So I have an announcement, and the announcement is that the League of Women Voters is revving up to get ready for the elections that are coming up in June. And they will be holding several candidate forums. The first one is for the Butte County Board of Supervisors, Districts 2 and 3, April 27th. And these are available on Zoom, so you can see them. The second one is for the Butte County Assessors on April 28th. The third is the California State Assembly, District 3, on May 2nd. And the fourth one is the U.S. Congress District 1, May 4th. They are also very much interested in having volunteers to help register voters. You can go on their website and see when they are doing registrations. They do have, they're also interacting with the students at Chico State, excuse me. So just really want to encourage you. You can get involved with those activities, even if you aren't a league member, just as a volunteer. All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Oh, yes.
This is actually a PTA announcement. I am proud to announce for the first time in 2 years, our service award dinner is happening.
Whoa.
So the tentative date is May 16th. I know it's a Monday, I know that's difficult, but our catering and our place where we're having it is booking up quickly, and I am proud to announce that it's going to be held at PV.
Oh,
By
very
the
good.
culinary students. They are catering, they are decorating, they are doing all of that. So I hope to see everybody there. This is a big thing, and the money from this goes to our district scholarships for seniors. And then I'll let you know, you guys will all get an individual invitation with all the details, but I just wanted you guys to put it on your calendar.
Excellent, thank you. So we had a dinner held there yesterday and by the students in the Career Tech Culinary Institute. It's quite wonderful. And that was to recognize the parents who were graduating from the All-Star parent involvement, that they had 13 weeks, so if they graduate, they didn't miss a session. So very, very impressive, and dressed up and spanking, just woo. So it was quite nice. And their desserts are to die for, so I think that you really will get a good audience.
We're going with the dessert bar, because she's like, oh, we can do like cake. I'm like, no, I want you guys to showcase, so have at it with the desserts. And she's like, all right, we can do this.
Oh, yeah, they're quite remarkable, and it's a wonderful tribute to the students and to the faculty who are leading this, so really impressive. Okay. Well, it's wonderful to have normality return for the PTA gets to celebrate. All right. So with that, are there any items from the floor that somebody wants to bring up? Items from the floor. Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to the consent calendar. And is there anyone that wishes to pull an item from the consent calendar? You guys are forcing me to do all the work. Okay, I am pulling an item from the consent calendar. I'm pulling 2-4 under educational services. So, are there any others to be pulled? We'll do it in just a second. Okay, so may I have a motion then on the consent calendar?
I'll move passage of the consent calendar,
Okay, with the exception of...
with the exception of 2.4.
All right, thank you.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. Again, we'll do a roll call vote.
Robinson, aye.
Lando, aye.
Kaiser, aye.
Dalby, aye.
All right.
Aye. Tennis, aye.
Okay, so I have somebody going to help me out with this one. So, John, will you come on up? Would we like to explain why we pulled this?
Well, we're really excited. I don't know of a time when any Chico High or PV team has ever been invited to the Nike Invitational in Arizona. So just some highlights of this opportunity for our students. It's 32 teams, 32 courts. So if you picture 32 full-size courts, 96 teams. In the last 2 years, over 60 students have been offered collegiate scholarships in this tournament. The Chico High has a connection through their head coach with the head coach at Arizona State, who also sponsors the tournament. It's just a wonderful opportunity for our kids. We would like to say that they're really excited about the volleyball and they're excited about the ASU visit and the Grand Canyon visit, but we also know they're excited about the opportunity to hit the water park. So it's a fantastic opportunity for our kids. Again, I don't think any team in Chico Unified has ever been invited.
Right, I know, I think it's just amazing. All right, so with that, I would like a motion, please.
You know, I think that this kind of stuff is really cool, you know, for young people who are able to do it. I did my share of this kind of stuff, and it just really changes your life to be out there with your peers and see something new and, you know, have the school pay for it. It's just so cool. You don't even fathom it at that age, but eventually you do. So I move passage of this item.
All right.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Since I don't think, I think we can just vote, right? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, 5-0. Thank you for that. And I hope Chico High gets to show their stuff. With that, we move now to our discussion action calendar. And the first item on that is the Butte College Connection.
Mr. Shepherd has to run back up this time.
So one of our goals every year is to consider all the different students in our district, all the different programs we have. And I think it's really important to consider some of the programs that don't make it onto a marquee, they don't make it into too many consent calendars, but they definitely serve the needs of our students. So I'm going to ask Elaine Elsmore, who's been a leader of our College Connection program for a number of years, I'm not going to say how many, to describe the program. She's got some students, I think, that want to share their experiences with all of you. Elaine Elsmore.
Thank you, John. Good evening, trustees and administrators. I'm Elaine Elsmore, and I've been honored to be teaching with College Connection since 2007. And I'm also honored to be joined tonight by Alejandra, class of 2022, Ethan, class of 2022, and Clara, an alumni from the class of 2019. You mentioned normalcy is returning, and it's been a couple years since we've been able to be up here and speak to you and share with you this program. College Connection is a partnership between Chico Unified and Butte College, and I work with our seniors from PV and Chico, but we are housed out at Butte College. This is a program that provides students with college immersion in their senior year. And there are a lot of great programs, and students participate in concurrent enrollment and have access to Chico State and Butte College. But beyond earning college units for free, College Connection students get to spend their senior year navigating a college environment and learning about all of the things that are different about the college academic environment from the high school academic environment. And the goal of the program is to allow a diverse group of students with a wide variety of GPAs, a wide variety of academic goals, major goals, college goals, and career goals to go out to Butte College and to have the experience of being in a more autonomous academic setting and make choices and choose schedules and begin to meet with professors in office hours and use college resources and do all of these things that they would hopefully do after they graduate, but maybe don't have more than a one-day orientation to try and expose them. So this is a year-long orientation, and not only do I get to teach them, but I get to support them and advise them and help them reflect and just really leverage their strengths, leverage their experiences, so after they graduate, they can go out and they can be successful college students, whether they stay at Butte College or they go directly to a four-year college. Like many teachers, I could go on and on and on and tell you about all of the students that I've had the experience to work with since 2007. But I don't have to do that because I have these wonderful people behind me who are going to speak to their individual experiences. And I also have letters that you'll have access to read about just the diversity of student experiences in the program. So Alejandra is going to talk about her experiences first. So welcome, Alejandra.
Hello, my name is Alejandra Montenegro. I am a Chico High School senior, and I'm also a part of the College Connection class of 2022. Prior to joining the program, I had no real set path for myself after graduating high school, and I was also very fearful for my future after high school. I was someone who had a lot of ambition. I had good grades, and I was a good student. I just didn't know where to put the ambition into for my future. I felt like I had no real guide in my life, and when I heard about College Connection, I thought it was the perfect way for me to begin that transition into the next phase of my life. With the help of College Connection instructors and just some of the people that I've grown to know in College Connection, I feel that I have truly grown from the person I once was last year. I think that one of the major things that have been different for me is the amount of time that I actually do get to spend with the people that are teaching me. I felt that in high school, I always had to accommodate for something. I had to be very early in the day to speak with them or stay after school hours or even sacrifice my own time for eating just to have a few extra moments to get clarity on something. But in college, I realized just how different that was. I actually had time to get to know my instructors in their own time, in a time that was also good for myself. And I've developed deep and meaningful relationships with many of my instructors so far that have really helped me grow as a person. I feel that I am now at a place where I can grow on my own as well. Prior to this, I felt like I always had a routine and that I had to have everything in my life completely the same. I was terrified of changing anything. And now I feel that I'm able to make changes in my life because I have learned that change is sometimes necessary and also wonderful for yourself. I have now decided on something in my life. I choose psychology, and one day I hope to be a psychologist to help people. And maybe one day that will change, and as I've learned, that is okay. And I think that I'm just very excited for what's going to come next in my life and no longer as fearful as I once was. I would like to say thank you to everyone here who is in support of College Connection and in turn supportive young people such as myself who want to advance into that next part of their lives a little bit earlier. And I would give it to the next speaker here, Ethan.
Hello there, board. My name's Ethan Welke, currently a Chico High senior within the program. And before I really decided to be in College Connections, I had a little bit of experience beforehand with my sister also being a part of the program, and really understanding how she went through it really helped me decide how I wanted to go through it. She didn't really know as much as I did when it came to what I wanted to do, because as a high schooler, I first took engineering at Chico High, the first level, under Mike Bergman, and that really ignited my passion for that topic. Last year, I finished the capstone of that course, and I didn't really have much to go off of then. I was looking at the course roster, and I was like, none of these really strike me as something that I find igniting my passion once again. So I was like, let me go ahead and look at College Connections, which was very beneficial to me, seeing just how sheer amount of courses there were that I could not only take for my future, but also just passion courses that I could see being just knowledgeable to me instead. With that, I've come to gain even more skills than I didn't know I would gain. My communication skills have skyrocketed significantly because in high school, I was just like my friend group and me, and that was the main some communication with with my professors. Now, I have such a wide variety of people to interact with. I feel more able to communicate my thoughts and communicate my passion towards certain topics very better. This helps both in the academic cells and in my personal life with being able to communicate my feelings also to them. With that, it also became a source of me preparing myself. I never knew how overwhelmed I would be by just classes. Being able to see a course roster, or the roster of courses I could take, was sheerly overwhelming. But the tools that allowed me from Butte College and also Miss Elsmore herself allowed me to navigate that really well. And now I've set my path for the next 2 years at Butte and also while I transfer due to those resources. So that overall has made me very appreciative of where I stand with how it is and being able to still go back to high school as a normal student. I'm still participating in Skills USA Club at Chico High. I'm actually the parliamentarian, and that's also something that I get to experience my engineering side more and more. So it's just not even a takeaway, it's just building what I find high school to be enjoyable even further. I'd like to thank you all for being able to listen to us tonight and be in support for College Connections. And with that, I will like to pass it on to Clara.
Hello all, my name is Clara Welke. I am the aforementioned sister of Ethan. I graduated from Chico High in 2019. Before I graduated and got into College Connections, I had a little dip into the college experience while also attending high school in my sophomore year. I took a dual enrollment course in English, and I took English too. It was one of the best things I decided to do at the behest of my mother. It was such a freeing and great experience to interact with people that were able to support me outside of what high school could. So then that influenced when I heard about the College Connections program, and I joined with great enthusiasm as I was totally prepared. That College Connections prepared me to transfer to Chico State, where I currently am attending. It also set me on my career path because Miss Elsmore encouraged me to get a job as a math tutor there, and that inspired my passion for teaching, which I am now on the road to be a math educations major. I should be able to be graduating this upcoming semester and then get my credential after that. I also am part of the Project Math at Chico State, because Ms. Elsmore introduced me to it. I am currently in a classroom learning from one of the best teachers in our district. I first did some experience with Mr. Morales at Chico High, and now I am doing mine with Mr. Preston at Marsh Junior High School, and it has been one of the greatest experiences I have learning pedagogy and having those teachers to support and influence how I will be able to teach future students. And I want to thank you all for letting this program continue and for letting me be part of it and for my brother to be a part of it and the future generations as well. Thank you.
Those were very impressive, and it's okay that she's your sister, you know. Very impressive testimonies. Thank you so much. Does anyone have a question?
Ms. Elsmore, thank you for continuing with this. How many students apply each year for the College Connection? I think there's an enrollment limit, correct?
So there's so many programs, and there's been so much disruption and upheaval. Generally, we have one section of College Connection, and I've seen the biggest kind of flux recently with the implementation of the block scheduling, and just kind of post-COVID, students are really hanging on for that, what they envision to be a traditional senior year. And so prior to COVID, students had 3 solid years of high school to feel comfortable, to become acclimated, and feel confident enough to look at another program. So next year, we're going to be serving 25 students. And so, again, the numbers change every year and are in flux. But these are students that really are, all students are a pleasure to work with, but I am always astounded at the growth that I see in these students. These students are employees at Butte College. They're tutoring their peers. They're making choices about what the best college is for them academically, financially. They're making class choices. They're using transfer counseling. So it's a program that's been in Chico Unified since 1994. Carol Mitchell was the teacher who piloted the program in Chico Unified. The program started with Mike Rockline in Paradise, and that was Region 1. And so I know that we'll weather kind of the disruptions we've been facing and continue to be a place where students can grow and develop.
Well, I thank you for your support, and I'm grateful that some of you have decided to go into teaching. Not that not going into teaching is a bad thing, but having the kind of educators that I know you all are whether it's educating within your social group or at the next college that you choose to attend. I honor you for what you've done and for what you're going to contribute. Thank you.
Madam President?
Okay.
I have follow-up to a question she asked earlier. So how many students were involved before COVID came along?
So prior to COVID, the section was approximately 35 students to 30. There's always attrition. Students apply in their junior year, and then they go through an intake process. They have an interview, and then you spend time with them trying to provide students and families information about building a class schedule. And so then usually there's some attrition over summer. Students have a little panic, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for this. I want to go back to the high school, and they can do that. This is a voluntary independent study program. And so generally the class is somewhere between 35 to 30 each year.
And what's your a normal, like a weekly schedule like for you?
So a weekly schedule for us is the students each fall and spring semester, they're taking 9 to 11 college units. And then we're a hybrid program, so we have one face-to-face class in the morning, and that's at Butte College on the main campus. That's the purpose of having that class early in the morning is so students will have the greatest array of college classes to take during a school day so that they can still continue to participate in extracurriculars at their high schools or outside of a traditional school day. And then I have office hours and I'm meeting with students outside of that class period, and then the students complete the rest of their other 3 high school senior courses through independent study. So they have FaceTime so we can work as a cohort, work together and join together with Paradise College Connection students and Oroville College Connection students to broaden our experience, bring in college guest speakers and resources, and then also allow them flexibility and access to college courses, and then that opportunity with independent study to begin to develop their time management skills.
So you're kind of looking over their shoulder a little bit?
Yeah, accountability, everybody needs it.
Caitlin?
I have a couple questions, but first, it's always nice to see past students come up and to be able to say hi, so that's fun. I always remember them as middle schoolers, so it's really fun to see those, adulthood type things coming up. My question about the program is, first of all, I'm curious if the instructors know who are College Connection students in their classes typically, or if it's forthcoming information.
So there is a process. What happens is the students enter and are in their classes for approximately the first 4 to 5 weeks of the semester so they can establish themselves as a student. Our students generally come in like they've come from a gym, right? They've come from an academic gym. They're used to being in school, they're used to doing homework, they're used to getting it done. Butte College, community colleges are one of the most diverse college campuses that exist. And so there are re-entry students and there are working parents. And so our students come in, they hit the ground running, and they also have support. And then approximately 5 weeks into the semester, our support staff at Butte College will notify every instructor of the College Connection students enrolled in their courses with a brief description of the program, the name of their advisor, contact information of their advisor, and encouragement to let us know how we can support the student and the faculty member in having the student be successful. I'm also located at Butte College campus. I've been there since 2007, so I have relationships with a lot of faculty and staff, and it's wonderful when they walk by and say, hey, I've got this student, can you give me some background on them, or how can we get them to be successful, or can you encourage them to come to office hours? So it's a good relationship in that sense.
So that for those first few weeks, they don't know. So if I was a college instructor and Ethan was in my class, I wouldn't necessarily be able to be like, oh yeah, that's actually a high school student. That's so cool. And then are there limitations on the types of classes that they can take, or is kind of the whole catalog at their disposal?
So the district and Butte College have agreed 9 units during the regular term minimum. State education code says 11 units maximum, 12 units is full-time. And then at Butte College, there are some limitations. A lot of students come in and say they're interested in nursing or medical careers. They need to have graduated from high school, completed the prerequisites, and apply and be accepted to the nursing program. So they cannot take any nursing specific classes, but thanks to assist.org, there's a lot of information, so oftentimes we guide the students into prerequisite courses. Science and math, they have to have the appropriate prerequisite knowledge, but I have students who are in college physics, who are in math 31, which is Calculus 2, based on what they've accomplished in high school. So some of their high school coursework can serve as prerequisite, and they have a few limitations, but not a large amount of limitations.
I have one more question, promise, and I'm done. So you've already mentioned about how many students are in the program each year, but I don't know if I heard, maybe I just missed it, about how many apply. So I'm curious about like what is the demand for getting into the program versus how many actually get to be in the program?
So the demand is different every year. And most recently, the application pool, again, COVID numbers, it's been smaller, it's been around 50. Prior to COVID, it was, mid-60s to 70s are applying.
And would you say that there's a higher percentage of those who would be good candidates that don't get into the program because it's limited to that, 30 to 35 range?
So the practice has been to screen students, and GPA is one factor. College graduation requirements is one factor, and then 2 teacher recommendations is another factor, and then student application statement and essay and parent statement. So try to evaluate the student holistically, and we purposefully accept students in each GPA range, 2.0 to 4.0. So 2.0 to 2.5, 2.5 to 2.99. So there are students being accepted from each GPA range, and the students, really one of the most important factors is that they have and they show and they display a level of willingness to communicate and maturity because they are in a more independent environment. And so anytime that we're approaching kind of a limit of how many students we can take, that's a great time to implement kind of a probationary acceptance and not put a student on a wait list, but bring them in, make sure they have classes, make sure they're on board, they know about the program, they know about the goals, they know why they're there and what it's about. Because again, there is attrition, generally from when they're accepted in February to when the program begins in August. So we've got ways to kind of flex and accommodate. At this point in time, there are no students who are qualified who are being left behind.
Thank you.
All right. So anyone else?
No.
This, did you, oh, okay, this is a information only, so we don't need to take any action. I do want to let you all know that was a very appreciative presentation. Thank you so much. All right. All right, so we do have a discussion action next. That's AG Completion Improvement Grant, and Ms. Tina Kleen.
Hello, good evening. Good to see everybody. That was enjoyable to follow.
Yes.
That was really great. This is good news coming our way. Chico Unified has secured $635,528 in grant funding from the California Department of Education, strictly going toward A to G completion. It's called the A to G Completion Grant, and it actually is a 2-part. So tonight is just, per statute, is to let you know about it, let you know that we drafted a plan to go to the state as required, and I will be back at the next meeting for the approval. So that's, again, per statute on that. Okay. But the money will be going toward opening up 33 sections between our two high schools in the 8-period day, or the 8-period block scheduling that will be coming up next year between the two schools. So it will greatly increase opportunities for students to take those A to G courses and some intervention courses so they can be able to complete those classes. So it's pretty exciting.
One of the questions I had, and I thought this was a genius move, is are we going to also have advisors or counselors to help these students who might not really see the connection between A to G and a college option?
So the way I understand it is they do complete plans. Every student completes a plan with their counselor. And with us all moving, at both high schools, moving this direction and knowing this increase is there, it will, I am hopeful, and I know Mr. Shepherd can help, and the administrators make sure that the students know about these opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, did you want to add something?
Exactly what you said. Just to expand on so the students, when they come in, actually starts their eighth grade year in January and February. They start to look at the different plans and decide which courses would fit their schedule. With 8 periods, there's much more availability, and sometimes kids will be able to either take a CTE pathway, and A through G, or both, which is remarkable.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, a stroke of genius. So you'll come back, well, what's the action tonight then for us if you have to come back?
It went under discussion action because I understand they go together, but it'll
okay.
be back for action
Okay.
the next meeting, yes.
All right. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank
Tina.
you.
So we're moving to business services, transportation update, and I do have a speaker card, so there will be a speaker on this as well.
Good evening, board, district staff. I just wanted to take a second before I get into this presentation, which I have no idea how to operate this thing. I just wanted to thank you guys for all that you've done for us outside of the fleet. I wanted to thank the board and the district staff, and especially John Carver for improving our facility. The office space is new now. We have a new break room. We have new bathrooms. It's just fabulous, and I wanted to thank you guys, especially John Carver. Yes, he said he'd give me $10 for every time I said his name.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So the school bus replacement plan.
Okay, you need help with it? You're doing okay. It's sort of flipping, though.
Okay, let's start off with the past. All right, the fleet back in 2016 looked like this. As you can see, we had 1985 buses, 1990 buses. We had a fleet of 16 Type 1 buses, which is the large general ed buses, and we had 23 of the smaller Type 2 wheelchair and ambulatory special ed student buses. It was pretty tired back in 2016. So the present, let's see what we're looking at now. If you look at the Type 1 buses, this is what our replacement's like. Now we have a total of 14 buses. Since we have more dependable buses, we're able to lower the amount of buses that we have, which makes it easier on our mechanics to maintain. We run currently 7 general ed routes. We plan on doing 9 general ed routes pretty soon, as soon as we can get a couple more drivers. As you can see, the fleet age has now dropped down to an average of about 2011, with an average of 123,000 miles. So we've made vast improvements in the Type 1 buses. The Type 2 buses, you can see we went from 23 total in 2016 to 21 total now with 17 routes. We only have 12 older buses that are beyond the year of 2012. You can see we still need some work in that area. Now the future. What we have right now is we have 5 more buses on order. We have wheelchair buses, all of them, 1 electric bus, and the other 4 are diesel. And this will give us only 7 older buses left at the end of the cycle. Now this is how we've got from where we were to where we are now. We've spent, as a district, $4.5 million on vehicles. Of that, we received $2.2 million in grant money, and we've used $1.2 million in ESSER money. So out of the district's general fund, we've only had to spend $1.1 million on a purchase of $4.5 million in buses. So we're doing everything we can. Jacqueline and I have discussed, we're looking at trying to start a replacement cycle where we replace one bus a year and go forward with that so that we don't run into this problem again. Previous to me starting here, we didn't have a replacement program. So we've made some serious steps forward, and we're going to continue to do that. Were there any questions?
I was going to ask you, and it was a couple of slides back, but you were going pretty fast.
Yeah, I do that.
There was a there was a classification. I didn't know what the 1V meant.
This slide? Because we have type 2s and type 1s. We have, the type 1s are the general ed buses, the large 40-foot buses.
Well, look at, see there on, see in the capacity,
Right. The V stands for variable seating. What we do is, in the old days, what we do is we'd buy a bus and it was configured in a certain path so that we couldn't adjust it. Now we buy variable seating buses. So we buy like a 45-passenger bus, and we can take out 3 or 4 sets of seats and make it a 40-passenger bus and 2 wheelchairs. Which just makes it a lot more flexible for us.
Yeah, okay, good.
Excuse me, Bob.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Bless
you. I know that our problem with transporting students to after-school sports and things has been an issue, probably more because of drivers than buses.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are we with that?
Currently, we have one guy who's testing tomorrow, who'll be certified, and then we have another lady who's going to be being certified on April 3rd, or May 3rd. So we've lost a couple of drivers over this last year due to different reasons, but we're still able to provide 2 buses for the after-school programs, one for Chico High and one for PV. We're hoping to be able to go back to 2 again really soon.
That was...
Yeah, we're very blessed, let me tell you, because a lot of school districts have not been able to do any.
Nothing.
But for almost the whole school year, we've been able to at least provide 1 bus per high school for transportation for all the
One of the things that we talked about 2 years ago, maybe 3, when I was riding one of the electric buses in one of the demonstrations, was the range, which was one of the reasons why we didn't anticipate putting the electric buses into the fleet for, like, football going to Lassen.
Right.
Has that improved? Are we at all limited because of the range of our electric?
Well, we figured out a way to get about 120 to 130 miles each day on the electric buses, and we charge them in between an opportunity to charge. We pick up like 50, 60 miles. We've also applied for a grant to purchase what's called a fast charger. This charger will charge the bus to 80% in about an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
The problem with the fast chargers is they cost about $50,000. So right now we've applied for a grant to receive one. We're also in the process of PG&E doing some work to provide more power to the yard, because right now we're just tapped out of power. So we found a grant to provide more power to the yard. And then there's another grant to buy some slower chargers. So we're trying to get as much grant money into the process as possible. But yeah, the electric buses, if we can get fast chargers, it changes the game.
Yeah.
It really does. It goes from a 4-hour needed, 5-hour needed to get the charge back up to an hour, hour and a half.
I was driving by the courtyard the other day, and the buses were all gone.
Yeah.
And we went, oh my gosh, somebody stole all our school buses. And then on the way back from my destination, realized, oh, they're resurfacing.
Right, we resurfaced the parking lot with, it's called technically Gorilla Snot. It's an Elmer's glue. We just put it down on the yard, and it's a dust suppressant. It keeps the dust from flying. It's really, really a good product.
That just the visual of not having any buses there versus how many we have was just striking. And I love the idea of the replacement schedule. Yeah, because some of our kiddos, you know, if it weren't for our transportation being provided to them, they wouldn't make it to school on a regular basis.
I agree completely.
So, thank you, Mr. Ontiveros, for your support.
Yes, ma'am.
So speaking on the electric bus situation, is there any kind of goal or objective with how many electric buses we would like to have going into the future, as long as that infrastructure gets put into place?
Right, the infrastructure we've designed so far is for an additional 6 electric buses. We currently are in the process of applying for another grant to receive 2 more large electric buses. So we'll have the ability to grant in 4 more, provided that the technology continues to improve. Our first electric bus, the technology was not very good and the range was not as good as the newer buses. So as we've gone on in the years, the technology has improved and the ranges continue to increase.
And then my follow-up question is, how do you all determine who has to drive the old buses?
Oh, well, John Carver decides that. That's $40.
I just hope that it gets spread around a little bit so nobody really feels like they're missing out.
Yeah. No, we do our best we can to be fair. There was one other thing I wanted to bring to the board's attention. There's a bill working its way through the legislature right now. It's SB 878, and the bill basically says that all districts are going to be mandated to provide free transportation to all students going to their school of residence that live further than a mile for secondary and more than half a mile for primary school. There's also a mechanism to provide funding for general transportation. This is the paperwork on it if you guys want to take some time and look at it. It's still a ways off before they're going to make this mandatory, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware that it's possibly coming. Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Eileen.
Yes, I read the bulletin and an overview of that legislation, and I thought at the time, my goodness, has anybody asked if we have enough drivers to, I was concerned about several aspects of it, so have been following the updates on where that legislation is. So I appreciate you continuing to monitor and bring it to our attention because it could be significant.
Yes, ma'am. The original draft, the year of implementation was 22-23, but they've kicked it back to 27-28. So there is some time, but again, the positives of this is they're going to provide funding for the general ed, so that would be helpful also.
Yeah. But Chico Unified is no different than any other district up and down the state. We too are struggling to find drivers. So
yes.
To your point, Mr. Robinson, it's not only a Chico Unified struggle, it is a struggle up and down the state. But we do have an in-district trainer now,
yes.
And that has tremendously helped. And Bob's been influential in getting those groups of new hires through, getting them trained up so we can get drivers and kids to school.
Yeah, we've been able to stay in front of the curve. So it's a national thing, really.
Yeah.
Across the country, there's shortage of school bus drivers.
Yeah.
But we've been fortunate and blessed to be able to stay in front of that. Okay, were there any other questions I could?
Well, we have 2 guest speakers, our speaker cards, and so they may have a question. So if you'll kind of hang,
Sure.
The first one I have is Richard Roth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't have a chance to be in the College Connected program, but if there's a program that does open up that's similar, I would definitely be interested in applying. I'm on the board of directors of the Children's Education Fund, which owns property owned by, rented by another nonprofit, the Chico Community Children's Center. And we're in the process of installing solar panels on our buildings. And I just wanted to reach out. I was involved, I think, in that very first bus demonstration when it came. I got to ride the first electric bus. And so we've been talking about installing a power wall or something on our facility so that the daycare center could continue services in case of emergency or power outage. And because of my experience, I thought we might be able to expand the programs for our low-income child care facility with a bus and use that bus then as a backup power source in case of emergency. And then it leads me to think perhaps there's some ways in which there might be some partnerships or collaborations between the school district and our facility. I just wanted to make folks aware of that and that we're interested in that kind of thing. and just to say hello. And
All right. So I don't think we have a response at this point, right?
Yeah, we need some more details on what that collaboration may look like, but we can certainly entertain the conversation.
Okay.
All right.
If the second person is Dennis Eichholz?
Yes.
Yeah, he isn't able to make it today.
Oh, okay, thank you then.
Thank you.
All right, so that was informational. Pardon? No, he's not able to make it. Okay, so thank you for that and appreciate the presentation. And I don't know, Dennis, if you're going to, Carver, I mean, John, if you're going to pass out $10 bills, I could mention your name too. Okay, so we're moving to the public hearing and discussion and action about the adoption of resolution number 1577-22, increasing the level 1 school fees. And we have Maria.
Good evening. We've also have Lynn Goober on the line. She's going to be assisting us with this matter in case there's any questions.
Great.
She is the district's consultant who prepared the developer fees study. So as you guys may know, in February of 2022, the developer fee cap raised throughout the state. Currently, Chico Unified is at level 1. According to the study prepared by Ms. Lynn Gruber's firm, it shows that we are in compliance with the local requirements in order to stay within our level 1 fees. We are proposing to raise fees to what has been raised or increased for both residential and commercial construction. We propose and recommend that the board moves forward with the action items A and B listed on the board agenda. Is there any questions or clarifications that we may provide?
Anyone? Go ahead, Matt.
I reached out to some members of the building community today and learned that they've actually had some leadership changes in their organization, the local Chico Building Association. And that may be why they didn't have a presence on the agenda in terms of public comment and so forth. As you all know, I'm pretty new to this and would like to hear what that community has to say before we move on this. So I think there is a representative here tonight that wasn't able to get a speaker card in because they weren't notified before. It's Katie Toma, who's the head of Chamber of Commerce, and also, I guess, wearing 2 hats, I gather. So anyway, that's my statement at this point in time. I'd like for the building community, the developers and so forth, to have an opportunity to give us their reasons why they think this is a good idea or not.
Yes, go ahead.
Excuse me. Jacqueline, are these raises that they're suggesting, are they already baked into our assumptions about budget and whatnot for coming years?
So the current increase, we don't have budgeted in for next year at this point because we didn't know, we don't want to take the assumption the board will automatically approve that, right? So the state board allocation approved it in February, and then that gives us the ability to continue with our study that actually over-justifies what the state cap is, but we can only charge what the cap is from the state board. And then at that point, if the resolution is approved this evening, then it would take into effect 60 days from today is when the rate would actually increase.
Thank you.
These rates can only change every 2 years. So,
Lynn, do you have any comments you'd like to add?
we can't hear you.
Sorry, we cannot hear you, Lynn. One moment, please. Would you please try again?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Lynn, do you have the ability to call in? Yeah.
While we wait, can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have specific numbers about the amount of the increase?
Yes,
Thank you.
we
I
do.
just can't find those in the.
Yeah, so the residential development increased from 71 cents a square foot, so it would increase to $4.79. Commercial increased by 12 cents a square foot, so the new price would increase to 78 cents per square foot. So these fees, while Lynn is troubleshooting, these fees are used to mitigate the cost of construction for new classrooms directly affected by the developments. Lynn, can you try again on your Zoom, please?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Oh,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Okay, I'll hang up. Okay, great. All right. I would just like to point out for the board's knowledge that the actual impact per square foot, if the district was able to levy what the actual impact of each new home would be $6.99 per square foot. The state allocation board, the level 1 fee is $4.79 per square foot. So you're already only able to levy $4.79 per square foot, which is a $2.20 less than what we justified in the report. And that's the function of the California laws. So, and this is, again, the district's one-time ability to collect for new facilities for when new construction is going in to construct those facilities for these children. So that's the only thing I'd like to point out, and I'm available for questions.
All right. Eileen?
Just under discussion and comment, having been through, many of these biannual increases over the years, and also listening to our demographers talking about the impact of housing that's already in the pipeline. It was not a settling report, and things are moving faster now than they were 3 years ago. And as I said, we have never charged what the actual impact is. And we are also at the end of the bond that was passed that we have utilized fully now in order to upgrade and expand our classrooms and programs. We are looking at the increases that our TK and pre-K classroom additions are going to add. We have never had a significant protestation, shall we say, since the developers and others in the community realized that without a vibrant school district that can accommodate the kids, that the people that buy their homes add to, it's not a good thing for anyone. And so I am, for many reasons, in favor of this increase approval. And no, considering our our past history, we do a really good job of taking care of the fees that are collected. We expand and maintain at a level that provides safe and attractive facilities for our kids. And so I'm definitely in favor of approving this tonight. Delaying is going to put us into the territory where we don't know even after the June budget, which has some trailers with construction and things in it. It just, in my opinion, it would be irresponsible to wait and not approve this tonight.
I have a question, and hopefully our consultant can answer this. In section 14, B, it talks about 78 cents per square foot of accessible space for new residential construction used exclusively for the housing of senior citizens. So I was just wondering why that was a separate, it's the same amount of money, I just wasn't sure why it was taken as a separate statement.
So based upon code, senior citizen housing that, again, is deed restricted to only house senior citizens, so we know that children will not be coming out of that housing.
I see. Okay.
It's considered more of a commercial impact.
Oh,
So
I
the
got you.
employees, more on the employee side that would be assisting those seniors.
Oh, thank you. That really clarifies. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
The other thing, I'm not sure if the public hearing has been actually officially open, but this does need to be a public hearing.
Yeah. We will open the public hearing as soon as the board has finished their clarifying questions. But yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Will we talk during the public hearing? Sorry. Also? Will we, basically, I'd like Ms. Toma to have an opportunity to speak.
That would be the public
Okay.
hearing. Yes,
Right.
she'll be able to speak.
Thank you.
Okay. So does anyone have a specific question before we go to public?
I feel like I have questions. I don't know if I'm wrapping my head fully around this whole concept. So the school district levies fees for any kind of new construction within the school district. And it's at a certain rate, and it sounds pretty low for residential right now, and it sounds like a very significant increase that is being proposed. My concern is for residential. Commercial didn't sound as,
71 cents.
no.
It's 71 cents per square foot, bringing the rate to $4.79 a square
Okay,
foot.
so my misunderstanding was going from 70-something cents to $4 and something cents, I think is what I misheard. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, moving along from that, like I understand the purpose and the need to be able to afford to expand our facilities in order to bring in more students. But my concern is and this is maybe a consultant thing too, is that balance that we have to make sure that as a community, and this is not just as a school district, that we're not driving the cost of housing up by doing this fee increase. Because that will negatively impact our whole community as well as our school district as far as affordable housing goes. So that's my concern is that we would actually be impacting affordable housing availability in the community.
Lynn, do you have a response?
So it certainly is a weight and balance approach. What I will say is the increase is based on the increase in the cost of construction. Again, the state allocation board increases it every 2 years, and this year was a healthy increase because the increase in construction has been so significant. So you are seeing a higher than normal increase in the level 1 fee that the state allocation board approved. I think it's a balancing act between being able to provide the school facilities for these children, to be able to get the best education possible, as well as being supportive of new housing in the district.
And
I did want to add that it is by square foot. So your smaller, more affordable housing won't increase, cost won't increase as much. Your larger square footage homes will see a bigger impact.
Is density factored into that too? I mean,
No.
an apartment complex will bring in a lot more probable school children, but it's not necessarily square footage wise that much more significantly bigger than, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. There can be a family with 4 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment or 3-bedroom apartment. It does not. It's just a flat square foot price.
And I would just.
Although what we do take into consideration.
Lynn, can you repeat what you said?
Sure. What we do take into consideration is the student generation rates from all those different housing types. So if you look at page 8 on the report, you can see that the student generation rate is considered for single-family dwelling, single-family attached, and multifamily units. So the student generation is considered for all residential types, but the actual fee that is imposed is the same for each residential type per square foot.
And I would just remind the board that this is the district's one opportunity to assess this fee. So there is that fine line of acknowledging, fair housing prices, but at the same time, when these housing communities or apartment complexes are built, the probability of getting Chico Unified kids is very strong. And this is our one opportunity to be able to get fees and revenue to help mitigate the construction that we know is actually going up at a much larger pace from a cost perspective than this 71 cents per square foot.
Yeah.
But you don't mean tonight is our only opportunity. You mean this agenda item, if we were to bring it back, the opportunity would still be available.
Yes, if it was tabled this evening to a future meeting, then we could make that decision in a future meeting, the board could, and then it would be 60 days after that, if approved, it would actually go into implementation.
Yeah, that's one of our time frameworks. It's 60 days.
Does implementation only impact future groundbreaking, or would it be applied to current construction?
It's not applied to current construction. And Lynn, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it is my understanding it is applied at the moment that a homeowner or a developer goes to pull a permit.
That's correct.
She's agreeing, yes.
So part of the pulling the permit process is coming into the district office to pay those fees. So if, let's say the board approves it tonight, if someone comes in next week, they'll pay the reduced fee because that new fee wouldn't be implemented for another 60 days. So there is a window, and sometimes we see this every other year, a spike in permits being pulled with that window in order to save the contractor a little bit of money.
Matt?
I have some research in front of me that just breaking out the 71 cents per foot increase over the course of a 1,800 square foot home, which is a nice size, would it equal $1,278 increase to that home, just to put things in perspective, on top of what's already there, which I assume, the total amount, what did the total amount come to?
The total amount is $4.79 would be the new total amount.
So 479 times 1,800. $8,622 on a new home.
But again, the context of this is this money is the only source that we get to add to our ability to actually improve our schools, expand our schools. And we know that we're going to have a new set of students because of the change in the law about transitional kindergarten. And
So in addition to any future students we may have with these
Right.
developments, we will have more students, or we predict to have more students with our current developments
Right.
because of the
change in the law.
and TK.
Yeah.
In addition, in our experience and in numbers we're seeing in construction and in construction projects, our escalation is far higher than 71 cents a square foot.
Mhm.
compared to what we were paying a year ago. So it's, in my opinion, it's economy of scales.
All right, so we need to open this up to a public hearing, and we can do that right now. And so then, somebody in the audience would like to make a comment, you're welcome. I think is it still 3 minutes? Yeah, okay, 3 minutes, Katie.
Okay, so I apologize for not understanding the protocol. I thought much like the city council, you show up, you fill out a speaker card. So otherwise, you would have had a letter and you would have had a speaker card by noon today. So I apologize for that. I am the executive director of the Chico Builders Association, no longer affiliated with the chamber. So this is my one gig. So like I said, my name is Katie Toma, and I am the executive director of the Chico Builders Association. And I'm here tonight to express our opposition to the significant increase in developer fees. As noted in the agenda, the school district hired an outside consultant to conduct a justification study. The development community would have appreciated the opportunity to have reviewed the justification study since the increase is so significant. And we have a lot of questions. Is there an actual need to build additional schools? If so, is that need expected to require a build? Is enrollment up? Is the district not collecting enough in fees to seek additional funding? Currently, Inspire School is conducting their own capital campaign to raise funds for their new campus on Bruce Road, and we're wondering, did the consultant take that into consideration? How much does the school district need to support a bond to build a school? The proposed increases are much greater than inflation, so we are questioning the justification for the increase. What this increase means in dollars, as Board Member Tennis talked about, was the 71 cents on an 1,800 square foot home is almost $1,300, which is a 17.5% increase. With the increase in cost of land and building materials, this increase in fees could price folks out of the dream of home ownership. The building and development community have enjoyed a good relationship with Chico Unified over the years. We've supported school bonds, volunteers, and donated to various causes. We would have appreciated some notice that you had hired a consultant to review the fees, and would have hoped that you would have given us the courtesy of sharing the outcome of the consultant's justification study prior to tonight's meeting. We are asking for an opportunity to review the study prior to you making a decision tonight on the fees. And if you're not open to delaying your vote tonight, we are respectfully requesting that you phase the fee increase in. Thank you. Unless you have any questions for me.
Can you explain what you mean by phase the fee in?
So it's 2 years. So maybe you would only collect, a portion of the fees the first year, and then you would increase the fees on the second year.
No, you can't. You only can increase the fees every 2 years.
Okay.
It's not like you can keep on going.
What I'm saying is that, okay.
I understood there was a delay, though, in the COVID cycle 2 years ago, that there was a kind of a delay. Okay.
No, we did a study 2 springs ago, in the spring of 2020, and raised fees. Came to the board in May of 2020 with implementation in July of 2020.
Okay.
What I can say from my years of experience on the board is we've only done this a couple of times, and it's always based on information that's produced, at the state. And I've never had the construction industry say, yes, this is a good idea. They always say no.
Sure. This one is really a significant increase. And as was mentioned by your facilities person, the cost of materials is way up, and also the cost of land. So it's just compounding. So it's burdened, the increase is burdened by the homeowner, not necessarily the developer. It's passed through to the person that's purchasing the home. So they're the ones that are going to bear the burden of it.
Yes, go ahead.
So we had a very similar conversation about this 2 years ago. And what I would really love to see, if you know of any, is there any empirical evidence about the rate of home building or the affordability of home building or home purchases being actually impacted by these kind of fees? Like, do we actually see evidence that fewer people get into homes because of increase in state fees?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can certainly find out for you.
And I would be open to delaying the vote for one meeting, at least until we can actually look at that and see if there's something there.
And I think it's really a compounding factor with the price of materials and the cost of land.
I hear you.
It's just one more.
You were asking, though, at large about how did we know we were going to have increased student demand, and our demographers we've been using them for years, and they're pretty clear that the increase is definitive. My family alone has got 3 babies. I mean, I call it the COVID litter, so.
We had 4 of those.
Yeah, there you go.
We have 4 COVID babies in my family. So, yeah. They don't live here, though.
Okay, Caitlin, were you trying to ask a question?
I don't have a question.
Oh,
but
okay.
I think I'll wait until we're in a,
Okay.
voting to have my comments.
All right, anybody?
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for
Yes,
sharing.
thank you. Anybody else from the public that would like to make a comment or ask a question? Okay, come on, Marie. All right, I close the public hearing.
And I do want to make one comment to the speaker now that the public hearing has been closed, is 30 days prior to the public hearing tonight, we actually have to put a notification in the newspaper stating that we do have a public hearing coming up in 30 days, at least 30 days, with the justification study. And that study has been available to the public at the district office for at least the last 10 days. So the justification study itself is not new to our constituencies of Chico as of last Thursday when the agenda was posted.
So that's a statement that it was made, noticed.
Yeah, statement to we didn't know a justification study was coming, yes.
Okay. Marie?
Lynn, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so, unless there are specific questions for me.
Okay.
Is there any additional questions or other clarifications that we may provide?
Eileen?
Well, I'm thinking because, again, I have a significant past history on this process. And all of the factors that have contributed to this board's voting yes in levying the fee at the level that we were authorized under the level 1, nothing has changed. Our demographers are offering us evidence, as they have in the past, or didn't in the years when there was not a projection for increase. I, too, have heard in meetings with the construction industry the impact of building costs, fees, land costs. It's one of the things that has been there for a significant number of years. What's changed, in my opinion, is the move by the state to mandate that we expand our student population. But we don't have the budget to do that, to make sure that the facilities are there. And so I don't have any hesitation at all, considering the growth rate of the community, what's reported with our realtors that, we're not having trouble selling homes in Chico. And so I don't have any hesitation at all in taking action on this item now.
Marie, could I ask you, what's the normal amount of time to either build a new school or get an addition added?
It depends on the project, and it depends where we are with programming, design, DSA, etc. But at the minimum, if we're adding 4 classrooms to a site, at the minimum, it would be 18 months. So depending on the magnitude of the project, 18 months to 3 years.
Yeah.
Marigold was a 3.5-year project.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tom, go ahead.
Well, I just want to put it on the public record because Ms. Toma spoke about us bringing in an outside agency. I just want to make sure everyone understands that we do that every year with an outside agency because it would be inappropriate for us to decide on our own to, increase the amount of money we bring in. So that's nothing nefarious going on there. It's just a check on us, actually.
One of the things, too, that I don't think has been mentioned is that just the developer fees, we quite often have to take what we're getting and hold it for 2 or 3 years until we get enough in the pot in order to be able to start the construction that we need. So it's not like this is something that isn't significant, because we know where the need is, we know when it's coming. Even with the increase, it may be a few years before enough is collected to be able to start the construction, if I'm right. Am I correct in how that works, as far as we have to build up a balance?
A reserve. In addition, these fees are strictly earmarked for growth that these developments have brought to the district.
That's a good clarification. Okay, Caitlin?
I think that you maybe have mentioned the number, but, and that it was lower, or maybe Lynn said it, that it's lower than statewide. How does the proposed number, and I'm just focusing on residential because that's really like the kind of the key factor. How does it compare to the region and or the state level? So where we're proposing versus it's still lower than like the average over the state, but how does it kind of match up with the region?
Lynn, I would like your help with this answer, and also if you can point that we have charged level 1 for years and have never charged over the level 1, and what that means and how we'd have the ability to charge more.
Thank you. You have 2 new board members who haven't gone through this process, so.
Sure,
Newish.
sure. So the level 1 fee is set by the state. The $479 is set by the state as the maximum that a school district can charge under this code. So $479, any school district in the state that charges level 1, as long as they're able to justify the $4.79, can levy the $4.79. That's for a unified school district. So if you have a union school district, elementary and a high school district, then they have a fee sharing agreement, and between the two, it's $4.79. So if you approve the $4.79, that's the maximum you can charge as a level 1. The state also has a level 2, level 3 school fees, and under those, they're calculated it's a different calculation, a different mathematical calculation, and those are to increase the fee that you can charge, thereby getting closer to what the actual cost of construction is. When they were first approved by law, it was anticipated that level 2 pay approximately 50% of the construction, and that the state would kick in the other 50%. Well, if you've been around schools very long, you know that the state is not kicking in 50%, and the school fees are much less than 50% as well. So what we used to have is a 3-legged stool, we used to call it, with pretty even legs. Now we have 2 short legs, meaning developer fees and the state contribution. And then the long leg is like a general obligation bond that the district has to go out and get approval for, and has to pay more of the construction costs that probably should have been paid by the new development. So, and as was said, Chico has only gone after the level 1 school fees, and those are set by the state allocation board. And they represent significantly less than what is actually needed to keep the facilities, put new facilities in for the growth for those new students.
So I think, Ms. Dalby, for comparison purposes, no one in the entire state can charge more than $4.79 per square foot. So as long as the Unified School District has a justification study that says they can charge at least that amount or higher, then we would be comparable with every other unified school district. We wouldn't be greater than because we can't charge more than the $4.79 per square foot.
Under the level 1. Under the level 1.
Is anyone aware of a time when we did not collect these fees in Chico Unified? Or have we always collected them for time immemorial?
We have gone through periods where we didn't. I mean, it seemed like it wasn't a very common event that we did it, but again, it can only be every 2 years. And the last time that we did this, somebody from the construction area showed up and said, "This is terrible. Why could you?" I mean, it's 71 cents. So it's a pretty low level increase when you consider that you can't touch it again for 2 years, regardless of your needs.
We have always collected the fees on residential. I do believe there was a period when we did not collect them on the commercial side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since it seems like we're actually talking about this and not doing it pro forma, I want to clarify, we could choose to collect a fee but not collect the entire $4.79, right? We could, as a board, choose some lower number.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have some room if we actually want to talk about this.
Are we in the realm of motions at this point?
Yeah, we could, for sure.
I move that we delay this for a meeting or two to give the contractor community an opportunity, since they're the ones who really, build this stuff for us, for our community, and their voice is important. I think we should give them an opportunity to be heard fully. So I'd move that we just delay this for a meeting or two. It's not going to hurt anything if we do.
It will create a 60-day delay of anything happening with whatever we decide. That's just the reality of the law. But our next board meeting would be when? Okay. So I think you need to put an actual date in there.
I move that we take this item up at our next meeting, which would be the workshop.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of this?
Yes, if you don't mind. You said that this would make a 60-day delay. I just want to clarify, it wouldn't. There's already going to be a 60-day delay. This just increases that delay by our 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sort of misled that one. Okay.
I'm interested, and this is maybe just a comment for Katie to hear. I'm interested in hearing not just talking, like your talking points about why this is a bad idea, but more of an engagement, like a conversation. I would like this to be more of a conversation about why it's good for the school district and good for the community for us to do this, and just at least come to some kind of understanding of the purpose and the reason. For one example being that as the district has to build facilities for students that we already know we're going to be getting with the required TK program, those building materials costs are on us also, you know, so that's a shared inflation right there. It's not just affecting the construction community outside of the district, it's also affecting facilities within the district. Being part of an organization that does do advocacy and does attend other meetings and, you know, has a board and talks to the folks on what our talking points are, and then on the other side of that, being on this board, I just feel like it would be valuable to engage and show good faith in collaboration as you know, as a good neighbor, you know, type of act in a sense. So that's why I think that this delay might be a good idea. I also know that it is hard to stay on top of every single agenda item from every single commission and committee and board in this area, and you know, things fall through the cracks. And so, you know, even though it was posted legally as it should have been, it's not like everybody's always paying attention to what's on the school board agenda items. So I wanted to recognize that. They don't. Well, it's been, yeah, some do more than others. How's that?
I just do want to jump in there and say we have enjoyed very good relationships with our local contractors. They do a lot of work for us in our schools. That's been a priority of the board to make sure that, you know, we do use our local builders. And they have also been really good partners in helping us with our CTE programs. And, you know, when we have been trying to get kids in and placed so that they can learn the skills, they've been, you know, excellent to work with there as well. So
I think that's where I'm coming from, is just maintaining that relationship and just demonstrating that we want to continue that collaborative piece among our community, for sure. And not just look like we're plowing this through because we feel like it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Eileen?
I have a question. Was there anything different this year? Because I know that people have noticed in our construction and that industry, they've noticed this before. I mean, it isn't like this is a surprise. Did we do anything different that for some reason they didn't respond or show up or comment or write a letter or?
No, our process has been the same. Lynn's worked with Chico Unified for many years. Nothing's different this year. I think it's just, we're all very aware of inflationary factors and we're all very aware of how much housing costs are. And so I think that's probably been heightened in our community. But from Chico Unified's perspective, our process has stayed the same as prior years.
If we had done something different that somehow or other kept this information from being disclosed to the industry, I'd feel really bad and I would support a delay so that we made sure that they were aware. But the awareness level has never been a problem. So that's the only reason I'm going to vote no, other than I know how important these fees are, and with what we know is coming, I know how important it is for it to be collected in the spot where we can collect it until we have enough to be able to do what we need to do to provide housing for our incoming students.
I would just note that this was passed by the state on February 23rd, so it's been 6 weeks that it's been well-known in the industry, because nobody can go above this unless they've gone through some kind of special motion. But it is the standard and it's statutory. So, yeah, it literally, this is the process. The state did it over 6 weeks ago. Every single unified school district is going to go through the same process. Every single one.
I think I kind of just want to respond that nothing feels as it once did.
Nothing feels what?
Nothing feels as it once did. these days. I've missed countless deadlines in the last 5 months because life just feels so overwhelming with all of the just what we're coming out of, and I wouldn't look to the past to say, well, this is the way we've always done it, you know, what makes it different this year? Well, things are just different. So I think that we need to respect that in a sense. And then, you know, also I think that in more rural communities, and, you know, even though we're classified as semi-suburban, we are still somewhat of a rural county. Folks tend to feel forgotten at the state level. So just because the state said it or did it doesn't mean that you know, more rural communities are as in tune or on board with what it is that the state is doing at the state level. That's just my piece.
Good.
Another reason I think 2 weeks might be good is I'm also curious about whether every unified school district asks for or applies the maximum amount. Are there any districts that don't increase max? Just so we can have some basis for comparison.
I thought you just asked a question. No, wait a minute. I
Would
thought.
you like us to, is that a statement? Would you like that information later, or would you like us to speak on that
Oh,
now?
if you have some information regarding that now, I would certainly love, I just kind of expected it would be something we need to look into, but if you've got it, by all means.
Lynn?
I can't speak for all of the unified school districts within the state because we don't work for all of them. However, what I can tell you is all of our clients that are moving forward with a fee justification study at this point are adopting the maximum level 1 increases that they can justify. We do have I would say 2 school districts who cannot justify the full level 1. So they have adopted something less than the $4.79 just because we cannot justify the full amount. But they are moving forward with the full amount that they can justify.
Thank you.
And, you know, we've had some that have already been adopted, and we have, of course, some that are in process because it takes time to do these reports. So I can't speak for every unified school district, but the ones that we're working with are adopting the full rate.
Eileen?
No, the question was basically that I had was answered, except that just to point out that the justification is the issue because unified districts, the impacts are all different. So just because Chico Unified can justify it, we meet the criteria, doesn't mean that another school district 100 miles from here has the same circumstances that allows them to justify it. They may not. And so if they can't justify it legally, then they don't get to increase the fee to the maximum. They only can increase to what they can legally justify. And the criteria for justification are what we're following. So comparing apples and oranges is not a good strategy.
In addition, some school districts may not be as proactive or not have the need or the knowledge that this is available.
Mm-hmm. I also would note that there are a number of school districts that have faced pretty significant decline in their enrollment, and that is not what we are showing, and that's not what our demographer is projecting either. So the issue, besides the new mandate of who can come, which has expanded by dropping the age level quite a bit. Okay, are there any other comments or questions? All right, then let's go ahead and take a vote. The motion that we had introduced was to delay this discussion action to 2 weeks from today. So roll call vote, please.
Robinson, aye.
Did you say aye?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm approving waiting 2 weeks and
Okay.
having
No,
any questions that
that's fine.
anyone has answered.
I just, all right, okay, all right,
I feel like I should vote no just to mix it up. Lando, aye.
all right. Kaiser, nay.
Dalby, aye.
Tennis, aye.
Okay, 4-1. All right, so we'll have this in 2 weeks, and discussion action, yes, okay. So with that, we move to the Charter School Measure K projects request, discussion action, and Maria, you're back on.
I'm back on. So in this discussion action item, I'd like to present that the following charter schools have projects that are being brought forward at this point to the board for approval. These projects are all funded under Measure K, under our bond language, that 15.34% of our bond funds would go to charter schools. The charter schools are as follow: Chico Country Day, the project, electricity to covered lunch area, project request $10,500. Next project, under Chico Country Day, lighting project. And this is a retrofit project, changing out all baluses to LED lighting at the middle school. This project amount is $60,000. The next school is Core Butte. They have a solar project for the sum of $15,000.
Marie, in my printout, it's at 30,000 for the Chico.
I'm sorry, my notes changed that. You're correct. That is 30,000.
Okay, thank you.
In addition, Nord Country Day has a refund of $29,148.48 to go back into the Measure K pot. These were funds that were unused during their cafeteria expansion project.
Nord Country, there's no day on the end.
Oh, thank you.
All right, discussion? Our charter schools have been extremely positive supporters and activists in getting our bonds passed, and we've been very faithful about returning their percentage, which is based on their student numbers, back to them to improvement. So the total amount for this would be $55,500, and the refund then coming back, correct? And there's a refund coming back of $29,148. Okay. Any questions? Any issues? Okay, can I have a motion?
I will move the passage of this item.
A second.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded, the Charter School Measure K project's request, and we need a roll call vote because of the one negative last time. So,
Robinson, aye.
Lando, aye.
Kaiser, aye.
Dalby, aye.
Tennis, aye.
All right, 5-0. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we're moving to the Resolution 1576-22, the application for preschool, transitional kindergarten, and full-day kindergarten facility grant program. Marie, you still have it.
I still have the floor. As we mentioned before, TK or the transitional kindergartner and full-day kindergarten is increasing our enrollment, and we project we'll increase our enrollment as the state has extended these services for a wider age group. In order to apply for funds to help us create housing for these children, we need to get an approved resolution from the board allowing us to file for applications and grants for these funds. Currently, Emma Wilson and McManus are on the docket to be submitted, and we are we would like to continue working on those applications. We are asking to add all elementary schools to this resolution in the case that something may change later, or there may be opportunities to improve or create housing at other sites in the future through grants.
Okay, any questions? All right, may I have a motion then?
I move passage of this item.
All right,
I'll second.
a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second, and this is to approve Resolution 1576-22, the filing of applications for preschool, traditional kindergarten, and full-day kindergartner facilities grant. All right, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, 5-0, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
you
Maria.
mean you get to walk away? Okay, Jacqueline, you're on. And this is the discussion action of the 2020-21 Measure E and Measure K general obligation bonds audit.
Yes, so the local firm HMNS did a bond audit for us under the scope of their services for us. And just like we have with our financial statements, every year they come in and annually audit both Measure E and Measure K expenditures. They submit one report just for ease. And I'm happy to say that we had no findings for either of our bond measures, which is very exciting. So they sample our expenditures, make sure that we code them correctly, make sure we are in compliance, that the expenditures match the ballot language that was approved by the voters of Chico. They also make sure that we are in compliance as far as our bid process and submitting, our architectural plans to DSA, make sure we have the correct permitting and all of that statute as well. So it's the compliance side as well as the expenditures are in compliance with the ballot language. So this evening, I'm just asking for the approval of this bond audit, and just for reference, it has already gone to the Bond Oversight Committee for them to look at as well.
All right, so are there any questions about this? Okay. Can I have a motion then?
I move approval of the Bond Audit 21 final.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. So we can have a vote by voice. All those in favor of approving the general bonds audit, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, 5-0, thank you. Okay, so we have tree removal at various sites, and Dusty, you finally get to get up here, dude.
Get my glasses here. There's one little typo in here. I just want to clarify, Bidwell. It says the tree was planted by a volunteer. It was a volunteer tree.
Oh, it was a volunteer tree.
I just didn't want to sound like a big name.
Oh, that's good.
So.
That is good.
So anyway, yeah, we're asking the board if we want to remove all these trees, and we're just basically asking your permission to approve the removal of these trees.
Dusty, can you go through the photos that are on the screen there? And help the board understand, thank you.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, the photos that are on there now, there's 3 trees at Shasta School, and those are actually mature trees that we think are at the end of their life. They've got a lot of rot, a lot of root rot, and it's just probably time for us to replace them with something else. Rosedale, that is a western red cedar on the left. It's obviously dying. We lost about probably 1/3 of that tree last year, and we're getting some more dieback. The one in the middle is probably the most important to me. It's a white alder, and we consider that a dangerous tree. It's at its life's end. On the right hand, see our view, That is a silver maple. It's declining, and if you look at it, it doesn't really belong in that spot. The trees are starting to grow over it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that left side, that is a cottonwood tree. That's the one that was planted by the bird.
Ah, by the bird, okay.
Yeah, and it just doesn't belong there. If you look at it, the PG&E comes by every year and tops it. It's not gonna do anything for us.
Oh.
Eric, help me though. Okay, Pleasant Valley High School. That was by the new construction. We're not sure what happened with that tree. If it was, it might have had some surface, some cars driving over. But anyway, it's declining. It's dying. Emma Wilson, yeah, that's another tree that really unknown why it died, but it just died.
Yeah.
We had another one die there not too long ago.
Yeah. The last one, yes, we did. That was the last one that was here. The very last one, I'm just going to step over here because it's kind of hard to see. This is at Little Chico Creek, and this happened over the last windstorm. You can see the
Yeah.
crest crack.
Yeah.
It's not going to make it. It's going to become dangerous. So.
Well, I think it is dangerous.
Yes.
They are projecting even just the rest of this week, strong winds and rainstorms.
Yeah. And it's always the goal of M&O, the health and the safety of the kids first. So,
Yeah.
If we start seeing trees acting like that, we want to take them out as soon
Yeah.
as we can. So.
Did you give that bird a ticket, the one who planted that other?
So any other questions?
When you take the trees down, do we also do stump grinding?
We do. Yeah, you probably noticed in front of Emma Wilson, there was a tree that actually split, like the one on the right, the Little Chico Creek tree. That stump's still there, but we will get that this round when we remove the other tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, may I have a motion?
I was just going to say, I think that volunteer trees are unwelcome on Chico Unified, and so therefore I move all these. No.
Discouraging civic volunteerism?
I just trust the judgment of our staff, and so I move that we remove these trees.
I'll second that motion, and I have a question. Dusty, how long after we've approved something like this do we get these trees out? And are the removals done by contract work, or are we doing this in-house?
Yes, we normally use local tree workers. We use Conley Tree, MS Wesley. Everybody we use is local, within, I would say, 50, 60 miles. And some of these trees we want to remove immediately because
Yes.
they are they're somewhat of a hazard. So, yeah. So we'll start. I would say the latest depends on how busy the tree companies are. We're looking at, I would say, the latest 6 to 8 weeks out. Yeah. But with that said, the dangerous trees we'll work on getting those out immediately.
Okay, good.
And so the trees get sent to be chipped up, I'm assuming?
Yeah, most of them I can tell you end up at Old Durham Wood.
Mhm.
They use that, I believe, for cogeneration and
Mhm.
plant mulch.
Gotcha. Talk to MS Wesley about holding on to some of that mulch for the new tree plantings.
That's good. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
All right, so no further comments? May I have a motion? Oh. I didn't realize we already did a
We're
motion.
ready to vote, Madam
Okay, all
President.
those in favor of the tree removal at the various school sites that have been demonstrated to be dying or dangerous, or both?
Aye.
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 My office was where the student died at Chico State, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dusty. Okay, hey, how do you pay that $10 a mention? Okay. All right, so we move now to Jim Hanlon, Resolution 157822, elimination of classified services and ordering layoffs.
Okay, so this is something we bring to you every so often to eliminate positions. I will say this is not a layoff. All these positions are unfilled because they're not
okay.
needed moving forward. So they're either due to lack of work or funding is disappearing. And I believe those are all due to ESSER funds. So we're gradually phasing out certain positions across the district as we don't need them anymore. So anyway, like I said, none of these will require a layoff, so we're just asking you to eliminate the positions moving forward.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Hanlon? All right, so may I have a motion?
Sure, I'll move this item.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for Resolution 1578-22. All those in favor signify by a voice vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
So, all right, unanimous. Okay, now we're moving to the adoption of the 2024-2025 student calendar.
So that's a future date, huh? That's a pretty cool date. So anyway, this is the time of year when I bring the calendar that is 3 years out to the board for approval. There's really nothing remarkable. It's a very common calendar. The holidays are observed. We have, as the board directed, I believe 3 years ago now, the last day of school is on a Friday, and then we count backwards 180 days, given all the holidays and breaks. So we'll start on a Tuesday and end on a Friday during this year. So unless you have any questions, the calendar was included in the attachment.
Any questions? All right.
I saw it, and my wife did not have any objections, so I moved the calendar.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right. So we have a motion and a second for the adoption of the 2024-2025 student calendar. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Actually had to go look up the
Aye.
holiday on my phone. Okay, so now we have a discussion action, the draft letter in response to the governor's 2022-23 proposal for utilization of the third option, ADA averaging for local control funding. And we go to Jacqueline.
That was a mouthful. Yes, so at the last regular board meeting, which was on March 9th, the board provided direction to administration to draft a letter to our local legislatures regarding this third option, not only to have it available for next year, but to have it available in perpetuity or going forward. So I did draft a letter on behalf of the board, which is the direction I understood, signed by the board president. So I'm just looking for feedback this evening on next steps and how you want me to move forward with this letter.
All right. This was brought up by us in response to the issue of the changes in ADA, helping us lever out. Yes.
I abstained on the vote, you may recall, last time around as to whether to bring this forward. But on thinking about it and so forth, I decided that I agree in principle with this, the meat of this letter. But there's one paragraph in here that if we could strike it off, then I'd be able to vote yes. But I can't put my name on this letter if this paragraph remains.
Which one? I'm sorry.
It's the second paragraph that I sort of highlighted for you all earlier today without taking any position. I just kind of shared it by way of information. I just disagree with it. I don't need to air out our dirty laundry here and be all open about it, but it doesn't affect the substance of the letter. It's just kind of, background maybe put in there, I think, by Ms. Kruger.
Hey, Matt, really quick, I just want to do a point of order, because I think that we're getting more into discussion than
Okay.
asking questions. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but definitely carry on when we have a motion on the floor. Thank you. I don't have any more questions of Jacqueline about the letter for right now.
Can you put the letter on the screen so that everyone Just looking at the same thing. Oh man, I can't read it from there, unfortunately. No. So, we don't have a motion yet, right?
No, Madam President, you have not called for a motion yet,
Okay,
nor have we asked for public comment yet.
okay. Does we have any public comment on this? Okay, all right. So, a motion then?
Yeah, I'll move the adoption of the letter as written.
As written, okay?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to adopt this draft letter in response to the governor's 22-23 proposal for the utilization of the third option, ADA averaging for local control funding formula. What that would do is smooth out funding, so you wouldn't have dips like this potentially from year to year.
It would give us a best of three instead of a best of two.
Yeah.
To pick from in terms of getting the most money for funding from the state.
And all this really is an advocacy piece, just asking for the passage of this legislation at the state senate level.
Anything else anybody wants? Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll
Matt.
just follow up on my earlier comments. And I like the goal of the letter, but that one paragraph in there, I just strongly disagree with it. And so I can't support this letter as written. I'm disappointed we can't take it out since it doesn't really affect the efficacy of the letter or diminish from our point at all.
Are you ready to call for the vote, Madam President?
All right.
Actually, can I?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was.
No.
So, Mr. Hernandez, you want to? I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that's objectionable here. Is it the sentence about Chico Unified placing a strong emphasis on ensuring our students are attending school and receiving a high-quality educational program because you feel that we weren't doing so?
Yes, that's correct. I also feel that that we did not successfully reopen our schools to in-person instruction. I think we could have done a lot better job. We could have been like Durham or any number of other school districts that were in fact open. I do not consider us to actually have been properly opened. So that's just how I feel. Nobody here is going to change my opinion about that. And so until that paragraph is taken out, I can't vote to support this letter.
All right. I'll call for the question then. And I guess we should have a voice vote. So all those in favor of the draft letter in response to the governor's 2022-23 proposal for utilizing ADA averaging for local control funding calculations?
Aye.
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 Tennis, nay.
Okay, 4-1. Passes. All right, thank you for that. So is there any items from the floor? Oh, well, come up.
I'm really upset. I'm really upset because at our last meeting, we talked about parents needing help, and we are now eliminating para positions. I know they're not filled, but we're eliminating them. That's ridiculous, you guys. Seriously, you guys looked at me and you guys agreed that yes, we need help, and then you vote to eliminate the positions? I don't understand. It makes me feel absolutely unheard.
No.
Question of clarification? Is that all right?
You're going to ask Jim Hanlon, right?
No. No,
Okay.
my question would be directed to the
No,
speaker.
then that's an exchange. I'm sorry.
But this was an item on the agenda, so. Yeah, just wasn't at the time that we discussed the item, but I mean, I don't know exactly what the rules are in terms of our bylaws, but.
Can I actually also ask a question of clarification? Did we properly ask for public comment on this item when it came up? It wasn't an informational item. We actually took action on it.
It was a resolution,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jim, you have information you'd like to provide?
I do.
Thank
So
you.
the needs of classrooms change from time to time. So in particular classrooms, there may be less of a need for additional help in a certain classroom, and we constantly add positions in other classrooms that need help. So it's shifting. So it's the number of hours and at the location. So while in this case, I believe they were primarily at PV, there were needs elsewhere in the district where we add positions. So you're seeing only when we take it away, but if you look over the past several years, we have added more positions than we've taken away. So as funding has permitted. So it's kind of slanted when you see only the ones taken away and not the ones that are approved.
And that would be my question. Do you know if we are going to have more paras next year than we did this year?
I would be shocked if we didn't, because we're adding 5 new classrooms next year. So it will be our intent to hire, but it will be at the specific sites that need the paras. So it's never stagnant. We're shifting constantly depending on the needs of the kids. Some classes need one aide. Some have aides that require individual kids to have aides. So we're constantly shifting where the needs are. So it's not a cut, and we have fewer aides than we had, a year ago.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So this 2.5 total FTE from PV, actually, I don't think I did my math right. 1, 2, 3 times, yeah. Is that just cut for the rest of this school year?
Correct, yes.
Okay, but that doesn't mean it's cut for next school year.
It may be in a different classroom where the need is greater. And I couldn't answer that off the top of my head. But we're constantly addressing or signing requests for new positions where they're needed at any given time. So it's never stagnant because the kids come and go, new kids move in, IEP-driven changes in IEPs.
So you've determined that there's not a need for 2.5 FTE paras at PV High School right now.
In the particular classrooms that they were assigned to, and they may not have been filled for the entire year. I'd have to go and take a look, but they finally got to the board for just eliminating the position. So sometimes these go unfilled for a lengthy amount of time. And other positions that require a different amount of time or in a different level of class, maybe an RSP to an SDC. So those positions are new or at a different school site. So I can't, off the top of my head, I can't tell you where and when those go, but we constantly are adding positions. So these are just the ones that we're eliminating for lack of need or the paras. There's one that says for funds, and I would guess, I don't want to guess, but I'm going to assume that it says categorical, so it's probably an ESSER fund.
I think it would be helpful, especially for our public, if there was a way to make this more transparent or a little bit clearer, like where those are coming from or where they're being reassigned to, because their concern is valid. I mean, we did just have this workshop and we did just talk about the increasing need for aides in the classroom. And so if this is a proper thing to do, and we're just going through the motions and just approving this because in the grand scheme of things, the paras are where they're supposed to be in this year. And then, the plan for next year is going to follow the students. I don't know, it doesn't, and I have to honestly, full transparency, completely apologize because this one slipped my radar. And so as everybody else was voting, I was reading what the classifications were, assuming that this was like, maybe it was I don't know, not to downplay anybody else's job, so I'm not going to do that, but not directly in the classroom aids, that we are supposed to be, in making sure that we're making that room more robust. So that was honestly an oversight on my part, and I truly apologize for that.
So I would just add respectfully that I disagree that it was valid, because it would be irresponsible on our part if we didn't eliminate positions that were no longer needed. We'd be spending money in areas just for the perspective that we're saving positions when they're not needed, because we are adding them in other places where they are needed. So,
And I totally understand and agree, and I'm not saying that your guys' decisions were not valid. What I'm saying is it would be helpful to be able to express that to our community.
and I can do that moving
Okay.
forward.
I mean, yeah, so when
Be
we
more
see like
specific.
we're cutting para jobs, like that's big red flags, unless we can explain the follow-up, like, no, they're just being moved to these other places where there's a higher need, so that we can take that funding and actually apply it to kids who need it and can use it right now.
So I can give some examples of things that happen. Our positions are driven, as you guys know, by IEPs. And, if we have a student that has an IEP that says they have a full-time aide assigned to them, but now that student graduates or moves on, or no longer needs that, then that position is no longer needed. But if you notice, it's never positions where there are people in them, because we need the people, we just need them in other places. But if a student graduates, the student moves on, then we don't need that particular position at that site any longer. But we're probably adding 2 more somewhere else because our special ed needs are growing. So I will just say,
Yeah, I think it's just the context. When you're seeing numbers and you're seeing lines go through them, it's really alarming. And so just a little bit of that context is maybe a little bit more helpful. And I should have been more prepared for this item to ask those questions in the first place.
And I believe some of our discussions at the last meeting is finding people to apply for the positions that we have open. And we still have positions that are open that people have not applied for.
Okay, Eileen is next.
No, thank you, Madam President. The concerns I had have been expressed by others.
Okay, so we can't have a dialogue with you, but you had your hand up, so if you want to come up and make a statement, you may do that.
I told myself I wasn't going to because I'm so highly emotional from the LCAP meeting and the last meeting we had. However, seeing that on there, yes, obviously very shocked and more frustration, but I really hate hearing paras in the classroom are driven by IEPs. Fair statement, but I don't feel it's a true statement. In our network of parents, it's like a little inner circle. We have parents practically at my concern is mostly elementary schools, but we have students at a lot of campuses. And what we hear from parents, we hear paras being taken out of classrooms when kids need them. We hear students that have IEPs that have a certain amount of inclusion minutes, and they're not able to get their full inclusion minutes because even though they're IEP driven, there's not a para in there to help assist the IEP effectiveness, I guess you can say. And I know that there is a shortage of paras, like I don't deny that at all, but positioning paras as IEP driven is not a fair statement. If a parent has to email Diane and inform her, even though she should probably know, hey, my student isn't getting their full inclusion minutes that they're supposed to be getting because there's 2 paras in a classroom where there's a high number of students that have severe needs, there's a problem in that. I feel that the district has adopted certain phrases as excuses, and that's really hard as a parent to hear consistently. When we hear district members say something, but we as parents know what's happening in the classroom. And it's not to say that you guys don't know what's happening in the classroom, but when our students are affected, we really see what is happening in the classrooms. I would really, really like that statement of they're IEP driven to be taken away, because I feel it's a falsehood. We tell parents we'll honor the IEP, but then we don't have supported admins. We'll honor the IEP, but but then we have to email Diane because we need certain needs in the classroom that aren't being met, that should be there. We'll honor the IEP. We'll honor the IEP. That doesn't happen. If I have to stand here consistently to say, hey, this needs to be addressed, this is a problem, this is a concern, the IEPs aren't being honored. It's just a statement people say to, it's okay. No, it's not. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Tell me what I need to hear. I would prefer an honest answer over fluff. Fluff gets you nowhere with me. I'll call you out on your fluff. And I'm sorry, I'm shaking. Highly emotional. Again, didn't want to get up here, but I just feel we need to stop with the fluff. Parents know what's going on. You can't hide things from us. We talk to each other. We talk to staff. We know how teachers feel. They don't feel supported, both gen ed and sped. We know what's going on. Don't give us fluff.
I appreciate you being able to get up and say something rather than sit in your chair and shake. So, thanks. All right, is there any other items from the floor? All right, thank you. Is there an item that a board member would like to agendize? Okay, seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Don't ever doubt your value in coming.